And now, as you can see, 4 of the stages, Snake Man, Hard Man, Top Man, and Magnet Man, have gone all kind of broken. And Spark Man, Needle Man, Gemini Man, and Shadow Man stages now have these guys on them. Now, I mentioned the Dock Robots before. We're going into the Dock Robot stages. They're called Dock Robots because of a mistranslation. In the Japanese version, they were known as, or in Japanese, they are known as Doku Robot, which is a portmanteau, a mix between 2 words, Dokuro, which means skull, and robot. And they're called that because their heads look like skulls. But because of how somebody at Capcom of America read it, they're called Dock Robots, D-O-C, even though they have no doctorates whatsoever, and that's naughty. That's one of the main translation things that has always irked me when I found out about it. They could have just called them Skull Robots. Skullman wasn't a thing yet. I mean, Mega Man 4 is where Skullman is. Skullman wasn't a thing yet. They could have called them Skull Robots, but they didn't. They called them Dock Robots because they were silly. When we make our retraverses, I guess, is that even a word? I don't even know if it's a word. We do our retreads through each of these stages. We're going to fight 2 Dock Robots in each stage, and each of these Dock Robots is more or less a retread of a Mega Man 2 boss, or Mega Man 2 Robot Master, but to the effect that they also have a much larger body and are much harder to dodge. So they're bigger pains in the asses than their Mega Man 2 counterparts. And first off, we're going to be fighting Metal Man, I believe. And like I said, each of these guys has 2 weaknesses, but I always associate each one with a particular weakness. I know Metal Man, for a fact, is weak to Magnet Missile. And is easy enough to kill. It's when we get to, like, Woodman and Heat Man, and both of them are in Shadow Man stage. Shadow Man stage is not fun when going through the Dock Robot phase. Those guys are pain in the ass, especially with Woodman, as we'll see. Because the sprite is so much bigger, his leaf shield is so much bigger, and is a lot harder to dodge. They made that a thing. So hopefully I won't have to go into easy mode and play through the entire game over again just to do one stage, because that's like the main thing I'm not looking forward to right now. I mean, to another extent, it's the oh, that's weird. The Rush Jet section from the second time we go through Needleman stage, but with the jump trick, it's really not all that bad. So yeah, the other Dock Robot I think is Quick Man, and like I said before, the weakness I know of for him is Gemini Laser, and luckily I have energy tanks, because he still does a lot of damage if he runs into you. And I think he's going to be running into me quite a bit. And trying to hit him with the Gemini Laser is no bueno! No bueno, because of how the Gemini Laser works. Look at this shit. Look at all the dodges. Sick dodge, brah. Look at all the hits he's doing on me, too. Please tell me I start off in the corridor. Yes. I know there's a corridor leading up to the first boss as well. The way that the Dock Robot stages are, you have the first checkpoint is after the first Dock Robot, and then like the second one is at the corridor, as usual. But because Wily stages do like to fake you out in regards to boss corridors sometimes, I don't always trust it. Because, I mean, I know that we're not in Wily's castle as of yet, but this is still, like 4 through 6 had 2 castles each. Like, you had the decoy villain, and then you had Dr. Wily's stage. And this is kind of a precursor to that. You have the 4 stages for, I guess, will be the first castle. You can just basically just choose whatever you're going. I just go, you know, left, right, top, bottom. But, there are people that do say that they don't like how you just basically retread through the same stages, but a bit different. I mean, well, look at the Needleman stage. For one thing, it's nighttime now. But the thing is, I always look at this as kind of a precursor to the second castle, or like the first castle, with you know the precursor to Dr. Wily's castle, or the requisite dungeon. That's not even a good term to use here. I don't even know what the words I was going to use were. But basically, like the first castle, the decoy bad guy castle, the castle before Wily's. That's what these stages are. And I always thought that was kind of a cool way. I mean, I get what people are saying about the retreads and everything, but at the same time, you know. This became a standard. This became a staple on the NES games from here on out. Was having basically 2 castles. The castles are usually, you know, 4 stages long. There's 4 stages we have to go through, and then a boss. Same thing as the Wily stages. So I just see it as whatever. We're gonna be fighting Airman now. Airman's main weakness, at least the weakness I know of off the top of my head, is Spark Shock. I don't know what his other one is. I never know what his other one is. And there is a little bit tiny smidgen of an advantage that you may have here, in that you can slide under some of his tornadoes. Doesn't always work, as you can plainly see. And now I've got to start the stage over from the beginning. But I still have more than enough Spark Shock shots to kill him, so I'm not all that worried. And in all honesty, you know, the passwords and the autosaves do save in between stages here, like Mega Man 7 does. So it's not like, you know, 4 through 6, where even if you make it all the way to, like, the last stage of Wily's castle, and you don't continue, like, if you have to, like, you know, turn the game off and come back to it, like, there is no password for the Wily stages there. It's like, you beat Dr. Cossack's stage, Dr. Cossack's castle, and now you're on Wily Stage 4. Oh, you gotta turn off the game? Well, the password will only take you back to Dr. Cossack's stage, so have fun doing all that again. As far as I know, it only auto-saves when it would normally give you a password, so, even if I didn't play through Mega Man 2 again to go do easy mode, I would have still had to do the first stage of Dr. Wily's castle again, and that would have probably sucked. But with Mega Man 3, it gives you passwords in between each of the revisited stages, so you do have, you know, plenty of leeway when it comes to, well, I guess leeway, is that a good term to use for that? I don't know. You do have a little bit more leniency. That's the term I was actually thinking of, when it comes to continuing and all that. Make sure that he doesn't hit me too much. There we go. It's hard to gauge sometimes with the Doc Robots, because they can do a lot of damage to you, but it's kind of hard to gauge. I'm actually going to jump over this, just in case. Because we're going to be using Rush Jet through this entire part, and this part is a long part. Let's hope we don't die. And if we do, that's why I left that energy capsule there, so we have some energy to fall back on. Because if we're in the air and we have to pause the game for any reason, like using an energy tank... Actually, I can use an energy tank here and it'll be fine. But, you know, it teleports us and gets rid of our Rush Jet. And I'm willing to sacrifice that to use an energy tank if need be. Because I really don't feel like doing all this again. Also, be careful when jumping too close to the top of the screen, because then it will count you as being near the bottom of the screen. And if you go too far up, you can fall in the pit and die. That's a thing that can happen. Pro tip from Rado Goji. Do not... I wouldn't say do not jump too close to the top of the screen. Just be careful how close you jump to. Be careful when you're jumping near the top of the screen. And if we mess that part up, if we mess this next part up here, I'm not as worried because even though the game will take us back to like the checkpoint is right after we beat Airman, but the nice thing is I actually left a lot of energy pickups. So even if we use a lot of Rush Jet, which we, in all honesty, really didn't, and we needed to use some pickups, there's still plenty there. So I'm actually kind of happy with how I left that. Now this guy, he is weak to Hard Knuckle, but Hard Knuckle is actually Crash Man's weakness, and that's what we're fighting next. So I don't want to use too much Hard Knuckle. I mean, Hard Knuckle I think can kill him in 3 hits. Like the Air Shooter did. But, I'm just... Even though Hard Knuckle does do a shit ton of damage to whoever it's weak to, I am a little paranoid. I actually wish these guys would drop health. Hold on. Let's see how well I can do with Rapid Fire Needle Cannon. Also, Little Mets. Little Mets can drop health. Shit. Well, back to the Rush Jet area. But like I said, not that big a deal. I'm actually going to jump over the, Oh. Oh.
Oh.
The game didn't give me much of a choice, did it? Ah, well. We're fine. We'll be okay. Look at this. Just do the hop glitch and just be careful as to enemy placement. And you should be able to get through this with little to no difficulty and plenty of energy pickups to spare, like this. Just be careful again when hopping too close to the top of the screen, and you won't hop up into the pit. I'm gonna leave that there. Although I will admit I am a little bit less confident with the amount of energy we're left with, because we still have to use the Rush Jet to get up here. Luckily, it didn't use any, so that's good. Alright. So I'm going to actively try to refill Rush Jet if I can. I'm actually going to use Hard Knuckle here. It seems like the good thing to do. It'll kill this guy in 3 or 4 hits. I want to act on refilling Hard Knuckle as well, because yeah, like I said, paranoid about the boss. But it is the best thing to do against those giant mech guys. So I really shouldn't feel that bad. I'm just afraid of how much energy we'll have left when we go to face Crash Man. That's the problem, because if I keep missing, that will count as wasted energy, and that is no bueno. I'm using an energy tank now. I don't give a fuck. I'll get plenty of energy tanks as the game goes on. Fuck it. I don't need all those energy tanks. Oh god. I hate these things too. They're very rarely in a position where you can do damage to them, and they just like roll all over the place. Okay. I didn't get any chance to pick up any weapon energy. And I think his other weakness is top spin, so let's make these Hard Knuckles count. Alright. Well, that worked out. Okay, good. Alright. That's another one down. Let's go on to Gemini Man stage next, which has Flash Man and Bubble Man. Which makes sense, because this is the only normal stage that has water in it anyway. The Doc Robot stages are, in my opinion, the hardest part of the game. Once we get to Wily's Castle, it'll be a breeze. Wily's Castle in Mega Man 3 is, like, hands down, like, the easiest castle setup of any kind in, like, any classic Mega Man game that I've played. I mean, 1 and 2, I absolutely hate those Wily Castles. Wily Castle 3, I actually have a lot of fun with. And I can... I mean, it also is a testament to how much I've played this game, but I can get through those castles, no problem. Just the Dark Robot stages are the are the hard part, and even then, it's alleviated ever so slightly by the fact that we get a save or a password in between each stage. So it's really not all that bad when you think about it. It's just having to go through and beat some of these Doc Robots, especially, like I said, Woodman is the hardest. Heatman isn't that bad. It's just that his weakness is Topspin, and Topspin is the worst weapon in any of these games. But even then, it's not that bad using Topspin on Heatman. Even all things considered, like, Shadow Man is, like, the hardest thing to kill with Topspin. Heatman is fine. The final boss is fine. So everything's pretty much looking up from here on out. I gotta say. I mean, it doesn't hurt that I love this game to begin with. Gotta tell you. I am thinking of doing, like, other more drunk Mega Man Let's Plays. Again, not really getting all that drunk here, because... I mean... I'm buzzed. Needleman is Flashman's weakness, by the way. Also, he is a little bit harder to beat in this than he is in Mega Man 2. Not by much, though. But yeah, I barely have anything that I can actually get drunk off of right now. But let me tell you, when I get to do it next week, I am all out for, like, drunk playing a game any day. I mean, depending on what day it is. Because Greg normally comes over to do stuff. No, I should use Rush Marine. The Rush Marine section, a hell of a lot easier than in the standard Gemini Man stage. Even if I have to go up and get some power-ups, this is easy. Look, I didn't even... And then we got Bubble Man. Bubble Man's not hard. Bubble Man's weakness is exactly the thing that you'd expect Bubble Man's weakness to be. It's Shadow Blade. I mean, there are a lot of things that, you know, if you think about it, like, the weakness makes sense. I mean, not always, but, like, just, you know, sometimes. Actually, I think I might use this opportunity to get some life energy back. But, like, I was able to figure out, just by using some sort of logic, what the weaknesses might be. Like, when I played this game as a kid, I did get to the Doc-Man stages, Doc Robot stages eventually, but I never really beat them myself. It wasn't until I played this a lot later on in life that I was able to, you know, beat the game, but, you know, on my own, I should say. I did see the ending of the game as a kid, but, a friend of mine at the time who was a hell of a lot better at Mega Man games than I was, you know, beat the games himself and got passwords and stuff, and showed me the passwords, and I was able to get through. You know, I've beaten Dr. Wily stages as a kid, but not, you know, the Doc Robot stages. But, when I was going through, I did figure out some of them on my own. Like, it made sense to use, Magnet Missile on Metal Man. It made sense for me to use... I mean, knowing that Metal Blade was one of Bubble Man's weaknesses, I tried Shadow Blade, and it worked. I mean, some of them make a little less sense, like Search Snake is Woodman's weakness that I can remember, unfortunately. I may, just for simplicity's sake, like, look up whatever the other weakness is and use that, because Search Snake is kind of a shitty weapon. Especially against Woodman. But, you know, a couple of them make sense. Like, I remember, I think I worked out as a kid that Sparkshot worked on Airman, and Flashman's thing was a needle cannon. But yeah, that's just how it turned out. I mean, half the time, I don't know how I came to those conclusions. All I know is that I know them now. I did look up some of them at some point. Shadowman stage is the worst of these, by the by. There are spikes everywhere. There have been times where I have died constantly, like on this first screen here, trying to get past these damn spikes. The difficulty in Shadowman stage is ramped up to a good amount. I wouldn't say to 11, but to a damn good amount. It's not all that, I mean, okay, I mean, I will say it's, I mean, overall it's not that bad, but it is my least favorite of any of these revisited stages. But I do have a few more tools that will make things easier on me. Like, for example, this has a lot of pits over it now, but they are easily overcome with Rush Jet. Especially this next part coming up. I'll start using Rush Jet here. And Bob's your uncle. I think we're at Woodman now. Oh, Woodman sucks. Give me one moment. I'm actually going to look up what his secondary weakness is, just in case it's better. Just give me one moment, okay? Okay, I'm back. There's a little bit more of a jump cut that I need to edit out. Because in addition to looking up the information that I was looking for, I also took the time to go to the bathroom. But while I was looking at the secondary weakness for Woodman, I also looked at the secondary weakness for Heatman, just in case Topspin decides to crap out. As it turns out, Woodman is not only weak to Search Snake, but is also weak to Needle Cannon and Hard Knuckle. So he's got 3 weaknesses, of which I would rather use than Search Snake. And if Topspin does crap out with Heatman, the alternative is Shadow Blade. So that's going to be immensely useful knowledge here. So I'm going to opt to use Needle Cannon rather than Search Snake for this guy, because... hoo boy! I'm surprised I was able to jump over that, in all honesty. I normally can't. It's normally like that. There. Okay, good. That's good. It's good to know. I mean, on the one hand, it looks like I'm always looking at some way to cheap out on these games for this playthrough, but on the other hand, I'm learning new things about a game that I really, really like, and I'd rather look at it that way, so screw you. Actually, with Woodman gone, I'm going to pour myself another drink here. Because that drink just ran out, and I've got plenty of Bacardi left. This is the Bacardi Superior that I got from Greg for my birthday. Didn't like it at first, but when mixed with things, it tastes a lot better, and I've grown to like it. So thank you, Greg, for both that rum as well as the again the awesome slime mug that I'm drinking this from. The mug again, like top tier present stuff. He also gave me last year he gave me this past year rather he gave me a Persona 4 poster that I like. So, but yeah, who knows? Maybe next week will forego Resident Evil and play this instead, drunk. It depends on what he's up for, but I use Magnet Missile through here because not only does it make it easier to take care of those parachute guys, but also these frog bastards that I hate. And I can hit them far in advance, and or something like that will happen, and I'll waste a lot of shots. That also happens because fuck these frog guys! Okay, seriously? A couple of those frog guys should be dead like 5 times over. Thanks for that. Yeah, there's nothing like really neat for these. This is like the end of the stage right here. Oh, no. Okay, I'm just gonna... Oh, fuck. Why did I do that? Why did I do... That was me! I made a rash decision. I thought I could make it, but I underestimated the amount of damage that dude would do to me with body contact. And now, I have to go through the parachute and frog section with 0 magnet missiles, maybe 1. 1 magnet missile. And no, I'm not going to go back and forth between these assholes and farm up more weapon energy. If it weren't for the damn frogs... It's the frogs' fault. That's the fucking frogs. And the only reason they're here is because for whatever reason, ninjas can be associated with frogs. I don't know Japan. I've never been there. I don't know what exactly all of their culture is like, but apparently frogs are associated with ninjas for some reason. I don't care why, but it caused these stupid frog enemies... Oh, and look, another one spawned from the side of the screen, and I'm fucking screwed. Thanks! Thanks for that! God fucking damn it. I'm gonna have to do this whole stage over again. Well, in all honesty, I did say this was the worst of the 4. And it is certainly living up to its title today. I mean, alright. It's not entirely the frog's fault. It is also my fault for making rash decisions. And deciding, I can tank this fucking missile dude. I couldn't, was the result. But I think I can go back and forth and just respawn this dude. Oh, so the frogs can respawn, but not the Hammer Joe. Thanks! Thanks for that. That's exactly what I wanted. Not, you know, fucking wasting all my... God damn it! Oh, that's okay. Because I just need to do the stage over again, and then I can just have full magnet missile when I go. I'm not as mad as I'm making myself out to be. I wouldn't consider myself drunk, because I can't get drunk off of Bacardi, but... I would consider myself at least buzzed or tipsy. I could chalk that up toward that. That's the reason why I was sucking so much with the Mega Man 2 stages, because I was drunk by that point, but... Seriously, those goddamn frog enemies, I hate them. As much as I fucking love this game, there are certain enemy types I could do fucking without, and those frogs are like at the top of the list. You can't hit them for crap when they're... I mean, even if they're, you know, on the ground, apparently, Magnet Missile will go through them because they're bastards like that. But, armed with the knowledge of, you know, Woodman's other weaknesses, namely Needle Cannon, I'm a little more confident in this run as a whole. So, in this run as a whole, so... all in all, I think I came out on top here. I should probably keep jumping on Rush, because I've used up all of the... Oh no. Oh no. Okay, good. I will refill that Rush Jet, if I don't beat Woodman first. Now that I've discovered that Woodman is actually incredibly easy, I'm just gonna go ahead and just kill Woodman. And I don't have to worry about the Rush Jet. Actually, what does poorly translated thing say? Time for another boss. Well, G, Proto Man. G. I mean, I know Navi mode is set up to help out with hints and stuff, but that was not helpful. It's just like I don't fucking know. Figure it out. Stop getting hit with Leaf Shield. That's pro tip. I'm willing to use my energy tank on that, sure. I'll get plenty of energy tanks come Wily stages, trust me. They hand those things out like candy in there. It's like the main reason why you can hold more than 9. Because, like, in 4 through 6, I think you can only hold up to 9. And then, like, by 7, it's, like, only 4 again. But still, you can hold up to 9 in 4 through 6. In 3, though, fucking sky's the limit. Or at least the, up to 99, I think. At the very least. Because I've gotten, like... I've been at points where I've held, like... 14 or 15 energy tanks in one go. See? They're going through the frogs! It's just fucking bullshit. And I do not approve. Especially if I'm trying to fire at a parachute dude, and it wants to go for the frog that's not even in the air. Yeah, I'm refilling that shit. I'm not gonna risk that again. I've learned my lesson. Believe you me. This guy's no picnic either, but he's easier to deal with. I will gladly take more Magnet Missile, even though I'm going into the... Magic Missile. Even though I'm going into the boss thing, so I don't really care all that much. You know what? I'm gonna go for the safe bet and just go for Shadow Blade. Not totally trusting Top Spin right now. I don't trust my skills with Top Spin. And Heat Man is fairly easy to deal with. Just hit him and then he'll charge forward and then I'll probably die. That's fine. Shadow Blade does enough damage to him, it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, I don't have any energy tanks right now, but again, I have plenty of Shadow Blade. I have more Shadow Blade than I know what to do with. Fucking giving it away. Fucking Top Spin. Top Spin is a bit bigger because he does have a bigger hitbox. Whatever. I killed him. That's the only result I wanted. It's all smooth sailing from here, ladies and gents. I'm gonna get this game done in one session. Ain't that some shit? I mean, I did get one game done in the last session too, but... Like, I think this session has only been going on for, like, maybe an hour and 40 minutes. Ish. I started about 8. Maybe a little before 8. Maybe like 2 hours it's been going on like this. Okay, so a bit of a thing about who Breakman is. Breakman is Proto Man. The thing is, Breakman... You were supposed to see that Breakman sprite we were fighting that's basically like an upgraded Sniper Joe, or rather... a Proto Man sprite that was kind of switched over. The thing is, we were supposed to be seeing that sprite all along up to this point, and then like we would have seen him as Proto Man near the end of the game. But they messed up that, so yeah. So yeah, the Wily stole Gamma. There's a whole backstory with this peacekeeping robot called Gamma. Apparently, Wily had turned a new leaf, and he and Dr. Light created Gamma. It was a peacekeeping robot. Peace robot. And these 8 robot masters came out of nowhere and stole the energy units or whatever for him. And then it turned out Dr. Wily was behind it the whole time. As you do. Also, this song fucking owns. It's my favorite song in the game. Allow me to enjoy it for a bit. Just use lack of commentary, even though I'm still talking. Oh, there's an energy tank. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of energy tanks from here on out. Like I said, for whatever reason, Wily's Castle gives out energy tanks in spades. So that's kind of nice. I don't think we'll be particularly needing the energy tanks too much. They'll be good in a pinch, but you know, for what it's worth, kind of like that. Whoop. No, we don't want to deal with more penguins. We're done with the penguins now. What do you think this is? Iceman stage? But yeah, it's all downhill in difficulty from here, in my opinion. This is the easiest Wily Castle stage of all the games. Let's refill some Hard Knuckle here. And use a bit of Rush Jet. I do want to keep enough Rush Jet to get... There's a certain point where you really have to use Rush Jet to get through. But I just wanted to use enough to get that energy tank. Because even though this area is easy, I still want to know as many energy tanks as I can muster, because those things are nice to have when the going gets tough. That was a thing that happened. I've never done that before. It's whatever, though. We'll probably get as many extra lives as we will fucking energy tanks. Damn. This is like the only game in the series where you're not limited on the number of energy tanks you can get. Even though I think we'll only get like 5 or 6. I mean, the game is... I mean, this is like considered like the easiest game in the series. I think that might be part of why I like it, but because I can just play through it so easily. But when we get to like the last quote-unquote level, you know, we're gonna see like a bunch of like pickups it's gonna give us before the final boss, and one of those pickups is like a life energy thing like this, which is gonna be completely useless to us when we start a stage. I'll point it out when we get there, trust me, but yeah, I need Rush Jet later. Might as well at least fill up Rush Coil while we're here. Go on to the first boss is Shadow Blade. It's a still turtle thing. This guy makes turtles. The turtles die to one Shadow Blade. And Shadow Blade is easy to aim. They go faster as it goes along, and the tornado things will block your shots, but super easy stuff. No need to get all hot and bothered about it. And destroying the turtles will destroy the thing. That's how that works. Fun fact, the Wily's Castle map theme thing is actually a lot longer than it seems. It's just cut off when we go into a level. There are a couple of songs like that in this game. One of which is Proto Man's theme. That's actually cut off during the ending sequence. Unfortunately, I don't have any way of elongating that. I know that there's something that you can do like something with the second controller that you can do to elongate it, but whatever that is, they probably took it out of this version of the game. Also, I'm scrolling these bees off of the screen. You may have noticed me doing that every time these bees show up. They're kind of like the birds from Mega Man 2. Like those beehives they drop will drop smaller bees. And I really don't want to deal with that. I'll scroll them off the screen because it's not worth it. Oh look, another energy tank. Another energy tank. It must be my birthday. We don't even need that much Rush Jet energy to get through. We just you do absolutely have to have Rush Jet to get through that, but you don't need that much energy to get through. Oh, also, here's a rematch with the Yellow Devil, and he is so much easier this time around. He doesn't do nearly as much damage to you, and I think the Hard Knuckle does do more than the Thunder Beam does. And this is basically an instance of the Yellow Devil where I don't really feel like I need a pause glitch to defeat him. Or going into easy mode, as the case may be. I should be watching these blocks a little bit better. Anything that goes wrong here is on me. That was on me. Not Rush Jet. Energy Tank. Silly game. Well, I've already fucked up my chance to hit him there. And then just that. Sometimes you can get a couple hits off on him. It's not very often. But I'll sometimes try to go for the twofer. It's worth it to try. If I remember correctly, I remember reading somewhere that the pattern the blocks fly across the screen is the same as in the first game. I could be wrong about that. I often am about things, but whatever. As long as I can see the blocks coming, because when he goes the other way, as you've seen, he does like the bouncy block thing, and that's a little bit harder to dodge unless you're like really good at sliding. I'm usually not, but I get so many energy tanks, I'm willing to just tank the hits. That's why I like Mega Man 3. I can just tank everything. Fuck it. I feel like a god. So this guy? This guy? Oh, nope, Shadow Blade. Oh, you're dead now. I think Beat is telling me to go that way because I think... Does this way lead to goodies, though? No, the other way leads to goodies. That's why he's telling me to go that way. Sometimes it's hard to tell when the hint is guiding you toward goodies or progress. I can just use this to replenish Hard Knuckle. I mean, I use Hard Knuckle to get them, yes, but Hard Knuckle is going to be very, very useful to have, I think. I mean, every weapon is going to be useful to have because we got to do the teleporter boss rush again, as you do. But even though one of the final boss phases it uses Hard Knuckle as a weakness, but I think I just usually bypass that with Rush Jet anyway. Still, it's good to have the Hard Knuckles. It's good to have the weapons. Especially if you use them a lot with certain situations, because Hard Knuckle is the only thing that can destroy those walls. I'd rather go down here. Oh, I already bypassed the thing. That's fine. I can just go down here. Speaking of Rush, I do want to keep that, because I will use that a couple of times during the final boss battles. To make things easier on myself, as I tend to want to do with these games. Oop. Oh, these things do a lot of damage. Fun. Well, I'm through that. Now, apparently these bosses coming up are also weak to top spin. I didn't know that until now. I noticed that when I was looking up damage data earlier, but apparently these guys are also weak to top spin. I'm going to use Search Snake on them anyway, because that's what I normally use, and it's easy enough to kill them with that. But, because top spin, basically they're clone Mega Mans, kind of like the one we saw in Mega Man 1. But, you know, there's 3 of them, and you can only hit one of them at any given time. Because the other 2 will, like any shots you have will pass through them. But, like, you can, if you find the right one, you can just shoot, like, a bajillion Search Snakes into them, and they'll, like, die just like that. So, I don't even think about top spin. Oh look, weapon energy. Yeah, I know this game is giving me a lot of passes and handouts, and I don't care. There's even stuff behind the health bar, because the health bar isn't normally that wide. You can normally see that in the NES version. But, because I'm in Navi mode, I have the wider, more elaborate health bar, and that's fine. I am pretty much full on weapon energy. I don't need any more. A little bit of rush jet. I don't even fucking know. We're about to hit the teleporter boss rush now, and I have all the weapon energy I need. I don't need any more of that. We may as well top off. You know, as long as they're giving it to us. That's fine. And these guys are easy. I mean, they do a lot of damage to you, but I have 4 energy tanks. I'm not worried. This pretty much the commentary is, this game is easy! That's the commentary at this point. This is why this is so easy. Even though the Robot Masters can still be a pain in the ass. Oh, I hit him twice in a row. That doesn't normally happen. I'll take it, though. Yes, siree. Needle Man is one of the problem enemies because his weakness sucks. Look, there's Magnet Man. I'll just use Spark Shock on him a few times. Just jumps around a lot, and that's why he's a pain in the ass. Barely have a chance to hit him. Fuck it, I'll just use an energy tank here. Look at that. I don't have to waste any of my 6 lives. Seriously, I have had runs where it's like, I've had like 13 or 14 energy tanks. I don't know if I was using like an emulator with save states. That might have been the case, but I found that when I actually do like more legitimate runs, like on this or like the Virtual Console or something like that, I'll have like maybe 3 or 4 energy tanks tops. But it's whatever. I can actually use the weakness on Hardmans. That's Magnet Missile. It works because he's up in the air some of the time. Also, he's still hard to dodge. Easy to dodge. That's what I meant to say. There's Top Man. He has Hard Knuckles. Let's take out Hard Knuckle. So the main things I want to make sure that I have a good amount of when I go into the final boss stuff. I want Spark Shock, I want Rush Jet, I want Shadow Blade, and I want Top Spin. I know that I don't always stick with the traditional best weaknesses for the final boss battles, but I go with what's convenient and what I've been using for years. So that's just how I'm going about doing that. And I don't want to use up all the Top Spin on fucking Shadow Man. Thank you. I have enough, by the by, even though I'll probably be trying to top off Top Spin. Aha. I have literally, this is a good enough amount of Top Spin to kill the final boss with. I'm not even joking. We'll see when we get there. You'll know what I'm talking about. You'll be picking up what I'm putting down. But yeah, Top Spin is the final boss's weakness. Who knew? Well, people who have played Mega Man 3 obviously know. Needle Cannon is Snake Man's official weakness, by the by. And it's a lot easier to hit him with this due to Rapid Fire than it is with the Mega Buster. Alright, so like I said, I want Rush Jet, which is full, Shadow Blade, which could do a bit of that, Spark Shock, and Top Spin. Because we're going to be getting weapon pickups here. Actually, I'll start with Spark Shock, because that's going to be used more immediately. Then I'll use Shadow Blade, because that's going to be next. Again, I should have enough topspin to just destroy the final boss with. I just want to make double sure that I have what I need. So I'm pretty much good to go here. No, that was a weapon pickup. I couldn't see it behind the lives. That's fine. That's okay. I mean, we have more than enough. I just want to be absolutely certain. So we're going to start off with Spark Shock here. We're going to drop down into the boss arena. And he's got this crawler thingy that he's going to come in with. Very slow moving. There's going to be a turret at the bottom. And the turret is susceptible... I want to say it's susceptible to Spark Shock. It is Spark Shock, yes. Yes, it is Spark Shock. This will die in like 3 or 4 hits. And then the... now he's going to be in this bubble here, and you can hit him there. Now, the official weakness is Hard Knuckle, but I've always found it a lot easier to just fly up with Rush Jet and shoot at him. It's even easier when you have the rapid fire function of the Anniversary Collection. I am still going to be using Rush Jet on the final boss, but it's mainly just kind of as a maneuvering capability. Because the final boss is going to go down just as easy. I'm just going to put it right out there. See, look at this. Look at this. It is giving you an energy tank. Well, okay, energy tank might be important, but you know, depending on how you are. Energy pickup, the life pickup right next to the energy tank. We're at the beginning of a stage. At the beginning of every stage, your health is refilled to full. What purpose does that serve? I don't fucking know. They just really wanted you to be prepared. I'm just going to chalk it up to that. I am going to use a bit of Rush Jet just to get that energy tank. Just for... Let's face it, just for posterity. Or for posterity. I'm getting this extra life and these energy pickups. Fucking hell. Okay, so say hello to the easiest final boss in any Mega Man game. It's Gamma. So, I don't know what his regular weakness is for this phase. I just upwards use Shadow Blade. Once he's at half health, he'll go on to the second phase. What do? Now he's gonna punch at you, and the punch I think kills you in one hit. But you can just, and you're supposed to be able to jump up on the fist, and then jump up on those platforms on the right, and then go above him. But I just use Rush It to get up here, and then spam Top Spin. Top Spin is like the only thing that'll hurt that. I think the other alternative is Shadow Blade. Or no, that was Heat Man. Search Snake. Search Snake is the other weakness. But just use Rush Jet to go above the head. Swap out to Top Spin via the menu. So if you have like shoulder button options, like I do in this case, don't use that because that'll fuck you up. Go to the menu, pick Top Spin, and then, like, as you're exiting out of the menu, spam the fire button. You'll kill him in one hit. That was Dr. Wily's big plan. That was Mega Man 3. Beat that in, like, oh, maybe an hour? Wow, that's... not even an hour, like, maybe 2 hours. That's a lot shorter than it took me to buy. When I played this on a drunk playthrough, it took me like 3.5 hours to beat. Maybe I've just gotten that much better at Mega Man 3. Maybe it's because I'm not technically drunk. I am technically intoxicated, but I can't get drunk off this stuff. I'm gonna keep trying, don't get me wrong, but I got a lot of fight left in me. I'm going right on to Mega Man 4, and I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but I think it's going to be a good ways, let me tell you. I feel like you could take on the rest of the series at this point. Yeah, there's a way that you can elongate this past, because it's going to cut off this song here. I've heard the whole song before. The song is fairly nice, but going into the staff, and it's going to show you who designed every Robot Master, much like I did with Mega Man 2. something I always bring up, because that's the way my brain works, and something I'm going to bring up here, too, because that's how my brain works. A lot of people, like, look at these as, like, the stupid... Some of these as, like, the stupid Robot Masters, and they're like, Capcom, what were you thinking? Okay, yeah, it is partially Capcom's fault, but, like, look at all these names here. These are actually contest winners. Starting with Mega Man 2, I believe. I'm fairly sure that, you know, I kept thinking 3 was the first one they did this with. Actually, Mega Man 2 was the first one they did this with. Since Mega Man 2 up through Mega Man 8, they did contests for every game. And all of these folks would submit Robot Master designs, and the winners would get to go in the game. So Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 all had contest winners in them. In fact, there was like one guy, I think, set the standard for a rule that you could only like win one at a time. Because he actually had a Robot Master design go into Mega Man 4 and 5. Like, he was the guy who designed Crystal Man. I don't remember what he designed in Mega Man 4. But either way, he got like one in both Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 5. And they're like, okay, from here on out, only one per game. And also, Mega Man 6, you know, most of these games had Japanese contest winners because they only held contests in Japan. But Mega Man 6, they actually had a couple of folks from North America win. Nightman and Windman. Windman was designed by an American contest winner, and I believe Nightman was a Canadian one. So I'm going to go ahead and start Mega Man 4 here, but just give me one moment. I'm going to tend to the dog real quick. She has started crying because my roommate is not home and she wants attention. So, one moment, please. Alright, I'm back. I may be a little out of breath, but that's because I had to go down upstairs to tend to the dog who needed to go outside. But we're starting Mega Man 4 now. This is usually on the lower end of most people's lists. It's on the lower part of mine. It's not a bad game whatsoever. But this is also where we start seeing the entire soundtracks being remixed for Navi mode. And this is where Navi mode, in my opinion, really shines with the soundtracks. Also, this is also where we're going to start seeing the ability to use L2 and R2 to select our weapons and rush upgrades, which is going to be very, very nice. Mega Man 4 is not one that I play a lot. It's basically like I know what the I know what the weakness level is and whatnot, but it's one of the ones that it is a little bit tougher for me because I don't play it as much. It's probably why it's so low on my list. My list of favorites. I mean, this is not a bad game in any aspect, but not as good, I think, like I said, 356 or 365 or 2. But we're going on to Mega Man 4, yeah. So basically, the big hook here is that, we stopped Dr. Wily 3 times, but now this new scientist, Dr. Cossack, has created Robot Masters. And as it turns out, it's Dr. Wily the whole time. But yeah, the entire soundtrack is redone for this, and it's pretty fantastic. Even if they do, replay this music for the, because it's the same tune, but like Toadman isn't in the arcade games, so when we play through the arcade games, you'll notice that this music isn't played anywhere there, but this was made specifically for the PS1 version of these games, and Yeah. I've already explained this like 50 times. I don't know why I keep going back to it. Anyway, Toadman, I always pick Toadman first. Everybody picks Toadman first. Why? Well, we'll get to it when we get to it, but Toadman is by far, like objectively the easiest to kill with the Mega Buster, because you can lock him in a loop. The main downside is that in these outdoor areas of the stage, there's wind and rain going on. You'll actually be pushed backward whenever you jump. So, like, all these times where I'm just kind of like standing still or going forward a little bit, that's with me pushing forward. Your jumps are, I wouldn't say stunted, but they are impeded in their forward momentum because of the weather conditions. So, something to be mindful of. It's my least favorite part of the stage. I did that twice. I died to that jump twice. That's a thing that shouldn't happen. But it did. I'm just gonna slide through this shit. Fuck it. I don't want to deal with these guys. Let's see if I can actually clear this thing on one life. That'll be a joke. Oh, I made the jump. Good. Umbrella attack. Okay. Alright, now we're in the sewers. This is a sewer level, by the by. I think this is... While there were a couple of Wily stages that did come close, I mean, this is the only true sewer level in the series, if I remember correctly. I mean, not counting, like, Mega Man X and stuff. Like, Mega Man X3 had Toxic Seahorses stage, which was a sewer level. This is the only one in the classic series that I know of that's a sewer level. It kind of sucks, but... it's not as bad as some of them can get. Like, I hate Ringman stage. We'll see when we get to Ringman stage, but I don't like Ringman stage. It's kind of like Crashman stage on steroids. The snail, you can only shoot him in the eyes, and also his eyes are only open every so often. Also, this is the first part where we get a charge shot. The charge shot doesn't look as or feel as powerful as it does in later games, but the upside is that in this game, if you get hit while you're charging, you don't lose the charge. So it's kind of like Atomic Fire in Mega Man 2, where you can charge it up and you won't lose the charge if you get hit. Mega Man 5 obviously loses the ability to charge without, charge while taking damage, but it does make up for it in the fact that the Mega Buster shot is actually a bit bigger and can hit a wider range of a larger area of effect. Okay, so I'm probably gonna die. And look at the amount of life I have. There's fish in here. Now what you're supposed to do is you're actually supposed to go across these platforms. The sucky part is that these fish... you gotta be ready for these fish. Because let me tell you, these fish, they don't fuck around. They will jump up and they will hit you if you're not, like, constantly shooting forward. And there's, like, this bullshit. Like, we still have Rush Coil, and that's fine. Hey, oh, good, I got some life energy. But I could easily hit this ceiling and then hit the spikes and die. We do have Rush Coil. We start with Rush Coil, much like we did in Mega Man 3. And it is very much like it is in Mega Man 3. I might actually beat the stage. It is very easy to kill Toadman without getting hit. And we get Rush Marine for killing him, too. So, basically what you do is you shoot at him. He jumps, you shoot at him, he jumps. Like, every time you shoot at it, like, every time you hit him, he'll jump. He won't even get to attack. And I am taking advantage of this by using the slide button, as well as the rapid fire button, the triangle. And that has turned this fight into even more of a joke than it should be. Normally, his weapon, Rain Flush, that's like the main weapon he uses, it will hit the entire screen, and that's what Rain Flush does when we get it. It's a full screen attack. That will damage or destroy everything on the screen. But as you saw there, he didn't get a chance to attack because we locked him in a jump loop. And that's how you beat Toadman. Later on, when we actually get his weakness, it'll go a little bit quicker. But that is why everyone starts with Toadman, because Toadman's the easiest to kill with the Mega Buster. For that reason. So let's move on to Brightman stage. Brightman, there we go. He's in a power plant. I always like the colored ripple effect kind of thing on the introduction screens in this game. Now, the gimmick with these sort of things, like, you'll always see these enemies in tandem. These light bulb enemies, if you kill the light bulb enemies, the screen will go dark. But then, if you kill the green fireworks enemies, the screen will light up again. You just gotta memorize where the pits are, really. If you accidentally hit a... I mean, I just hit the light guys just because they're in the way. And I'm happy to take a game over on that, because in all honesty, I was near the beginning of the stage anyway, so I'm not really losing any ground here. So I'm more than happy to take that hit. I mean, as long as you know where the pits are and you keep attacking the fireworks enemies if the lights go. I'm actually gonna keep this like this. This is fine. So I can judge the jump better. But still, it's not that hard to traverse. It's just because I'm tipsy. These grasshoppers will take you over the spikes. Shoot these totem poles. There you go. Not really much to say. And the soundtrack, the remix soundtrack is awesome. But, yeah, this is one of the, like, the lesser acclaimed games, I guess you could say, in the series. I'll take that. This is actually at a point where people stopped buying Mega Man games. I mean, they still released, like, 3 more, like 4, 5, and 6 were released on the NES, yeah. Because, you know, Capcom was keen on making games, for the NES. Actually, let me get into this a little bit. It'll give me something to talk about, at the very least. Mega Man 4 was released the same year as the Super Nintendo. There were a lot of folks that were moving on from the NES to the SNES as a result, but for whatever reason, Capcom kept making Mega Man games for the regular NES, which is fine. I mean, I didn't have an SNES when it first came out. Hell, I think I mentioned before, my brother and I didn't get our NES until, like, just before the cusp of its death, Christmas of 1993. That's when we got our NES. I'm willing to take that kill, because I keep the energy tank, and I got an extra life, so it cancels it out, and that's fine by me. I don't know if Keiji Inafune said it, or somebody at Capcom said it, but the reason they kept making Mega Man games for the NES, despite the fact that the SNES was out, was because it was kind of one of those things where, like, if an older brother was moving on to the SNES, and he gave his old NES to his kid brother, then his kid brother would still have games that he could play on it. And there wasn't a Mega Man game released on the SNES until 1993 with Mega Man X. And 1993 was the same year that that Mega Man 6 was released. But I can certainly attest to being behind on the consoles, because like our console, like when in 1991, what did my brother and I have? We had a ColecoVision that our parents got for their wedding present. And don't get me wrong, we loved the frickin' ColecoVision. but like, you know, all of our friends had an NES, and we got our NES Christmas 1993. Sometime afterwards, like, I think it was Easter 1995, we got a Sega Genesis. And then I got my N64. I bought my N64 New Year's Day of 1999. And then after that, we just kind of like kept up with stuff in our own right. So we were buying consoles by that point in our lives. Like everything past the GameCube, I think that I've owned past the GameCube was stuff that I actually bought because I was like old enough to buy my own shit. Like I had a job by that point. But I remember, like, our first Mega Man game was Mega Man 5. And, like, I only knew about playing Mega Man games because a good friend of mine at the time when we were living in Minnesota, you know, I played some of his Mega Man games. I just screwed myself by actually using the Rain Flush on Bright Man. Oh well, guess we're gonna have to Mega Buster this shit. But yeah, you know, I played a lot of Mega Man games from him. Like, he had, like, I don't remember the main ones I played. It was like, because I was really into Mega Man at that point in my life. That and you know, this is also the point where I was, you know, playing Link's Awakening, because despite the fact that we didn't get, like, an NES until however much longer after, you know, before it was discontinued altogether, I kept up with portable stuff fairly easily. I'm screwed. I got my Game Boy when we were moving from New York to Minnesota in like 1990, and that wasn't too long after the Game Boy came out. And that's probably why I'm more of a portable gamer than anything else, is because I've been able to keep up with the portables more than anything else. But I do remember the first Mega Man game we ever actually got was Mega Man 5, and we ended up having, you know, in the end, like, my brother and I, we ended up having 3 and 5, and my friend who I, you know, played Mega Man games with, he had 1, 2, 4, and 6. So, between the two of us, we had all the Mega Man games that there were. Because, you know, 7 wasn't out yet at that point. And, like, his brothers had a Super Nintendo. Because it was kind of a weird situation. Like, whenever I went over to his... Because he had, like, 5 brothers. And, like... different brothers had, like, different ways to, you know, play video games. I mean, I think that the younger brothers didn't, but, like, the immediate... Like, the oldest... Like, he was the second oldest. But the oldest brother and the next youngest brother from him shared a room, and they had a Super Nintendo, and I was never allowed to play it, which is understandable. You know, I'm not going to show malice toward, you know, a young man of that age not letting me play their Super Nintendo. But, like, you know, I would, you know, watch my friend play Mega Man X. I think Mega Man X2 came out, you know, before I moved to Virginia. Mega Man X2 came out in like, in the meantime as well. I think Mega Man X3, actually. Because I know Mega Man X3 and Mega Man 7 came out around the same time. I think the same year. I know at least Mega Man X3 was out before I moved to Virginia, but... Oh, I still have an energy tank. Awesome. That's right, because the passwords save your energy tanks. And then I can just go and get another one. I don't know why I haven't been using the energy tank. Probably because I'm paranoid. But yeah. Basically, we had 3 and 5, and my friend had an NES, and he had 1, 2, 4, and 6. So between the two of us, we had all the classic Mega Man games up to that point. Between the two of us, and also the Mega Man X games. up to that point to an extent. But that is, you know, that's long ago, like over 20 years ago. And I have, unfortunately, since lost touch with my friends up in the Great White North. But yeah. That said, it wasn't until, like, I was leaving for college, I think, was when I, or the summer before I went to college, I think was when I really started playing more Mega Man games, like, via emulator. Because emulation was, like, the big thing at that point. This was, like, 2002, 2003. And that's when I finally got around to really getting into and playing and beating all of the NES games and, like, the Super Nintendo X games, Mega Man X games. I mean, at that point, I did have a PS1. And one of the first games I got for the PS1 was Mega Man X5. I still like Mega Man X5, but I'd never really played Mega Man X4. I do remember, like, when I was, you know, in that 1 year of college when I went out of state and I was living with my, I thought I was still invincible. I thought I was still invincible when I jumped on those spikes. That's my excuse for that. When I was, you know, that 1 year I went up to school in Connecticut. Bunch of Mega Man games on emulation. I remember specifically having Mega Man X, or Mega Man 1 through 7 on emulator. Mega Man X 1 through 3. And I also had, at that point I did have X4 and 5 on the PS1. I remember playing Mega Man 1 through 4 for the Game Boy, because I had a ROM of 5 for the Game Boy, but I couldn't get it to work. Like, it would crash the emulator. Like, if it wasn't crashing the emulator, I think it was crashing the actual computer, which isn't good. Like, I didn't have a lot of experience with, like, Mega Man 8. 9 and 10 weren't out at that time, but, like, Mega Man and Base or Mega Man 8 didn't have an experience with those. Mega Man 6, X6 and onward didn't have an experience with those. I did have Mega Man 0 for the Game Boy Advance, though. But in any case, I will make sure to use an energy tank this time if I get low on health, because this guy is actually very easy. He's basically he's a poor man's Flash Man. Like, he can stop time for a bit. I'm going to use an energy tank right now. He can stop time, and he can shoot at you, much like Flash Man does, but he doesn't shoot at as much of a super rapid rate as Flash Man does, but it still goes in, like, those angles. And the weapon that you get from him is Flash Stopper, ironically enough, because Flash Man gives you Time Stopper, Bright Man gives you Flash Stopper. And basically what Flash Stopper is, it's like Time Stopper, only instead of draining your entire energy bar when in use to stop time, it only stops time for a limited amount of time per use of it. And also, while time is stopped, you can still use your arm cannon to do damage to enemies. So it's Time Stopper, but better, is what I'm getting at. And Flash Stopper is good against Pharaoh Man. Yep, there's a Pharaoh Man. Again, these are contest winners, so there you go.